Second.
Have a motion and a second for approval of the agenda. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Next is the minutes from the December 10th regular meeting.
I move to approve them as presented.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from the December 10th regular meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Business from the audience, none? Austin? Reports, looks like we did have one property damage report with doing some welding on a skid loader. And then one injury, unloading some poles.
Lack of communication.
Okay. I'm curious, on the property damage, do we have a hot work policy? Do we issue hot work permits? Okay, all right.
How's the employee's hand?
Good. His report on it.
Didn't require any medical. Okay, next we'll go into reports. Tony, good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
You'll see there I have an action item for the BOD and TSS rates for the wastewater. This is something that we look at annually. And I believe 2 years ago, we kind of put a pause, and then I attended a workshop down at MPUA to kind of, with other cities, kind of going over kind of what the standard practice is for calculating the BOD and TSS. And so this is the calculation that everyone seems to use, and I think we've been using it now for a few years. Really, I kind of explained it there in the write-up. The only change that I made this year that really hadn't affected prior years is the interest expense has always been grouped in distribution. And since 100% of the loan was for improvements done at the plant, I grouped it up in plant expenses. So you'll see that's why the plant, it's part of the reason why the plant expenses have went up so much. And in making that change, that's what caused the 2-cent increase on the BOD. Part of the reason for the increase. I think without that, without grouping that in there, we were looking at a 1-cent decrease, and then moving that 440,000 up into plant caused that 2-cent increase, which to me is the correct way. So, and then there I put a quick little summary of kind of, we really only have two industrial customers right now that are getting hit with surcharges, and obviously the ConAgra is the big additional, is really the majority of the one that's taking this charge.
Do you remember, I know, 2 years ago we did put it on hold. There was a slight increase, but I don't remember how much it was we were looking at
I
last
think
year.
it went up quite, it was gonna go up like 3 or 4 cents, I think.
Okay.
And that's when we kind of said, hey, let's kind of, because I really wasn't sure, going through the calculation. And then in that MPUA meeting a couple years ago when I went down, there's really kind of 2 ways they do it. This is kind of the simplified method, and then there's another kind of more detailed where they go line by line and say how much percentage do we want to apply to each expense line. The simplified method is, hey, we're just looking at our plant expenses, and then we're going to do the calculation and take 20% of that cost as BOD, and then 10% of TSS.
Yeah, and no increase on TSS.
No.
It makes sense moving that interest expense over, and that's what it's related to, so.
And it's went up, obviously, with in there with the restructuring of the loans, it's went up quite a bit, so. But yeah, if you guys don't have any additional questions, I'd make a recommendation to set the rates for BOD at 29 cents per pound and TSS at 24 cents per pound. And I believe this has to go to city for a resolution.
Yeah, you probably got the most understanding of all this.
Well, not the understanding of what he's doing with the expense, but based on Wick's comment, that sounds like it's the right thing to do, and it's putting it in the right category.
Right bucket.
And yeah, if that's the way it works out, that's the way it works out.
Does ConAgra
soluble BODs and insoluble, and they have trouble removing one of them. Can't remember how that works for sure, but, yeah, they chemically treat, mechanically treat, yeah. But they just, and they still have BOD charges. Yeah. And they, you know, I don't think it'd be any surprise to them.
Make a motion to set the rates for BOD at 29 cents per pound and TSS at 24 cents per pound, effective January 1, 2026.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to set the rates for BOD at 29 cents per pound and TSS at 24 cents per pound, effective January 1st, 2026. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you, gentlemen. There on that second page, it's kind of been a topic that me and Jeff have been discussing. I know the board's been talking about it, but I kind of put in here kind of an overview of the water financials and what our margins are and our rate of return. And obviously you can see over the last few years, our rate of return has dropped substantially, and a lot of that is just increase in costs, maintenance costs and supply costs. I did kind of wanted to paint a picture here of what that looks like. I did add a little sheet here for you gentlemen, just kind of little snippets of information that I haven't had time to put all together yet, but to get our rate of return to where we need it to be, where we need to increase our revenue around 800,000. This is a little high, but that's kind of where we need to be. That just kind of shows you guys what that kind of increase would look like. Then I showed kind of the impact of what our residential customer would see with that large of an impact. And then I kind of put in there some research I've been doing on what the average water bill in Missouri is, and then this doesn't include any capital improvements. So if you see down there, I kind of put together a rate schedule of what we'd be looking at financing through, whether it's a state revolving fund or bonding on $20 million capital project. We're looking at an additional, $1.1 annual on that loan. I think the big question is, how do we approach it going forward? I'm not a fan of, just me personally, hitting everybody at once. I think we try to phase it in. But that's obviously, what we need to discuss and how we want to approach that. I don't know if you gentlemen have any questions about the write-up there, or?
This sheet is based on a 20% increase.
And I've been talking with Jeff about kind of phases of how we want to look at it. I just haven't quite got it all put together yet, because we got to consider our residential customers, we got to consider our industrial customers, and then our wholesale customers as well. And so what that looks like, it's going to be a challenge with the capital projects we have coming up. And I was reading an article last night, and I don't think we're the only ones. It seems like water and wastewater are seeing double-digit increases. So, and you can see there in the financials, it's really, 22, 23, and 24 is where it's really continued to increase.
I'd agree with you that to me, it makes sense that we don't just do one big increase. Maybe we do a tier, spread it out over, I don't know, 3 years, whatever.
That's
Yeah.
kind of what I was leaning towards, and then, because I don't want to throw a huge increase, and then maybe there's some cost cutting we can do on top of, obviously our expenses in this year are a little skewed because we had double well maintenance. There's things that I need to factor in on that as top as well, but think the overall is that we are gonna have to have some increases, so.
And then we did see a big increase in lime and well maintenance costs out there.
And that's a majority of what's generating. And like I said, you know, we did receive $3.5 million of grant money this year for stuff we spent 2-3 years ago, which is kind of offsetting that. And we'll still, this year, we're gonna receive another $400,000 to finish up that grant, which helped substantially because we were looking at borrowing that money to do North Street. So it's really helped us a lot, but I think overall, it's just, we can't continue to see these types of increases and not
You got a 5-year trend here going the wrong way, you know?
Yeah.
That makes me worry about phasing it in too. I don't like hitting everybody all at once, but is that gonna at least stop the bleeding? I mean, costs aren't gonna go down, right? So.
No. The overall expenses might go down a little bit because of the doubling up in certain years, you know, so, you know, that a straight 20% across the board, you can see was gonna estimate at 873. I don't know if we need to be there that first initial increase. I think if we can get around, I've been kind of playing around with, I was thinking 10% across the board would raise it like 440,000, kind of see where we're at, and then, maybe doing a tier of, tier 1 and 2, doing a bigger increase, which kind of hits your average residential customer who's only using 800 gallons or 4,000 gallons a month, hitting them versus hitting your industrial customers as much when they're hitting that 4 or 5 million gallons. So, there's still a lot of, playing around with it in discussion with Jeff and you guys that I'll need to do. I just kind of wanted to kind of give you guys a heads up that this is gonna be coming down the road and how we want to approach it with the city, you know, cause I'm sure we need to discuss, you know, donated and city and.
So that first year, if we went 10%, that's gonna generate a little over 400,000. And then you're saying there may be another 300,000 in grant income in that first year?
Well, we know we're getting in,
Yeah.
we haven't submitted, we just haven't received it yet.
Yeah. So that gets us over 700,000.
That first initial year.
That first year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then, kind of see where we're at. And obviously, we haven't gotten the study back from Burns, you know, kind of, that's a whole nother, I mean, I'm attending a work session down at Jeff City on the 8th for a state revolving fund to see what our options are there. If they have the money, I think if they don't, then we're pretty much limited on, you know, bonding. I think if we, how fast we want to pursue the transmission and then obviously the improvements of Travis's plan, so.
So do you think this is something we need to act upon within the next?
I'll be bringing something pretty soon, so
Yeah.
whether we wanna, visit with Jeff and then the city on how we wanna do it, if we wanna have some kind of work session, or if we wanna.
I think we do need to have a work session on this, and along with the junction, I don't wanna forget about that work session that we talked about.
Right, yeah, cause I think we're gonna see, in my initial looking at this, I think we're gonna see multiple years, it's not gonna be just a one-time, you know, so.
When was the last time we put rate increase on?
2020,
Yeah, that's what I thought, it's been several years.
yeah.
So we don't need to act upon it now?
No, this is just
And we'll-
pure information,
yeah,
like I said, if you
so-
guys have additional questions, you know,
Yeah, I agree with Steve, we should have a work session to.
kind of get everybody on, make sure we're all on the same page.
It'd be nice if Travis be there too.
Yeah, and I might add, our goal here today was just to kind of provide the board with a snapshot, you know, kind of a high-level view of where we're at and what we're looking at. The $20 million, that is just an estimate. We thought we needed to include something there. I'm hopeful it will be less, but I think the last meeting we had with Burns, they were looking at $2 million a mile on the transmission line, so that puts you right at $16 million. Then you throw some of the projects in at the plant, but we wanted to show, you know, that there's going to be a large amount of money spent on capital improvements, and they are needed. So certainly, if you have any questions, we wanted to get this to you and give you some time to think about it, and as we move forward and try to figure out, what's best, the best approach and how to handle this.
Yeah, I looking back at the rate increases, it looks like in 2016, we had a 5%, and then in 2019, we had 10%. And that, it looks like the last time we had a water rate increase.
It's worth pointing out too, that still even with a proposed 20%, we're still over 10% less than the rest of the state as an average, so just,
Yeah.
that's worth pointing out.
Yeah. Okay,
Thank you, guys. Unless you have any other questions.
anything else? Okay, thank you. Grant, good morning.
Morning, John. I do have one action item this morning. You'll see in your packet, there's a task order. This is a study to inspect Reservoir 2. That has been budgeted since 2020 to be demolished. However, we never really can find any records of it ever being inspected. This would be a level 5 inspection. They would use a drone to dive through there and inspect that to see whether or not it can be rehabbed or repurposed for any other thing. Hopefully, I think best case scenario, it can be rehabbed, and we keep that storage in town. So my recommendation this time is approve task order number 9 from Burns and McDonald for engineering to inspect reservoir number 2 for a cost of $35,000.
Is that Zers now?
Yes.
So, I guess you answered it. The demolition that was previously was really not based on an inspection or something that said, hey, this thing's structurally,
I can find no records of an inspection.
okay. And then the other thing, in Burns and McDonald's, this task order, I don't see any fee.
So this is just a preliminary. I do have email confirmation of the $35,000. They will send the task order over that will be signed with the number on it. I've
Okay.
tried to clean that up, but with the holidays, they're out of the office and I can't.
Okay, all right.
I'll make a motion to approve task order number 9 from Burns and McDonald Engineering to inspect reservoir number 2 for a cost of $35,000.
Second. We have a motion and a second to approve task order number 09 from Burns and McDonald Engineering to inspect reservoir number 2 for a cost of $35,000. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you, gentlemen. The only other thing I might add is we are continuing to spread lime, approximately 1,700 tons so far. It seems to be going pretty smooth at times, and you have little bugs that jump up. But other than that, no. That's all I got unless you have any questions.
On the natural gas line, what length or how much of the line was inspected to look for farm taps?
So there were 6 points at various locations. In the easements and the as-bills, it was wrote as proposed farm taps. We didn't have any confirmations if they installed them and didn't hook them up. And with the upsize of the pressure, we want to make sure that if they were there, they were the correct things. So it's spread out through all the way to the take point, different
Okay.
areas.
Okay, and there weren't any found.
No, no doubt.
Anything else for Grant? Thank you. Jim, good morning.
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 Do have one action item. Truck 313, that's a utility body truck that we got from Grant as a hand-me-down. We were able to get a couple of years of life out of it, but it has died now. Engine issues. We've got it in the budget to replace it. My budget probably a little bit light, but I had 60,000, and just looking around, it looks like it's probably gonna be closer to 65, depending on how aggressive they wanna be, but, and then Brian is recommending that we get a diesel because of some of the things we'll be hauling down the road, so I'm not sure if that's necessary or not, but we at least get prices and see. But that's kinda where we are, looking at replacing 313, so recommendation to approve getting bids for replacing that truck.
And this is
it was in the life when
$25,000.
Grant gave it to us, so. yeah.
Good, yeah.
So I might add 2 more years left. What do you think?
I make a motion to approve requesting bids to replace truck 313.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve requesting bids to replace truck 313. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you. We did get our blowing machine back and got 6 miles blown in the first week or so, and then got back to digging some other stuff, but I think looked like they're getting ready to blow some more today, so we're back in business blowing. Hopefully we'll get caught up eventually. But,
Using the new air compressor?
using the new air compressor this time of year, it's kind of hard to tell how much difference it's making. I think that's hopefully in the summer when it's hot, blowing hot air, we can hopefully tell more of a difference there, but they're getting it figured out. It's got newer controls and all that sort of stuff, so they're figuring all that out, but yeah, they seem to be happy with that.
Got any update on 415?
It's, the other truck, 415, has steering issues. It drops out of power steering every once in a while. I think it's too old to have a recall, but it's got some kind of safety thing that Ford's paying for it to be fixed. So, Brian said it would be down for a couple of weeks while they're taking care of that. But it's another one that's in the budget to be replaced eventually. But
Anything more for Jim?
Guess we'll cover
It is the annual report? Yeah, okay. Thank you, Jim. Eric, good morning.
Morning. As you can see, we did receive the new blower. I just wanted to thank Grant and Jared's guys for their help on getting that off the trailer. We were able to pick it off with the hoist truck and the spreader bar with no problems. And I am in the process of getting that scheduled to be installed. And that's all I had, unless you have any questions.
I mean, it's a whole skid, isn't it? That blower?
Yeah.
So what are we gonna do with the old one?
So I thought about, we have like a junk pile up on the top of the hill that we scrap metal out. I thought about taking it apart and just scrapping it out, because there's really nothing good to be saved in there.
Okay. It's not worth repairing. I guess if it was worth repairing, that's what we'd have done
Yeah,
to start
it's
with.
pretty shot.
Yeah. Okay. Nothing more for Eric? Thank you. Travis, good morning.
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 Don't really have anything else to add other than what's in the packet, but I'll be happy to answer any questions if you have any.
I don't have anything. No? Okay, thank you, Travis. Doug, good morning.
Morning, gentlemen. No updates to what's in the packet, but I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
When are you gonna get the study back?
Our flash study, I think, we're waiting on the labels. We've got to print the labels.
Okay.
off. So once they get those printed, I think everything's ready to go.
So pretty soon then?
Yep, yeah,
Okay,
that's
good.
What was with the storm drain and the catch basin, was it just in
On
bad
the north side
shape?
of the Benton building, they originally installed 2 catch basins, and the conduit for that, it was corrugated pipe, and it was not flat. It was wavy, and being corrugated, it caught a lot of rock, so it was almost half full of rock. Wouldn't drain, and it was pretty flat in that area, so we just ended up having to replace it all.
Had we had some flooding issues there, or?
Yeah, on the north side of that building, it's just very flat, it comes toward the building, pretty good. And there's just no way to take the roof drain, I mean, it exited out on the northeast corner of the building, and there was nowhere to go with it, so we ended up putting it, installed it in the catch basin also, and put it in, so. Other than that, we're done with that project, with the exception of, about a 24 by 14 foot concrete pad right at the entrance to that building, and then we should be done with that. But we're gonna wait till warmer weather before we tackle that one.
Thank you, Doug. Jared, good morning.
Morning. Did stick a table in there showing what our energy credits are gonna increase to starting in January. They are divided up now into summer months and winter months. Then also, starting in January, we're gonna probably start testing all the units once a month rather than once a quarter. It's not required by MOPEB, but it is strongly recommended. So we're gonna start doing that. We did run 7, 8, and 9 last week, and they ran well, and then we ran 10 and 11 last night. Those two ran well also. That's all I got, unless you got any questions.
These capacities are just the increases you're expecting?
That'll be the total.
Okay.
Yep. Currently our capacity credits are around, just under 50,000 for everything, 47, somewhere in there.
6 is still running manually.
Yes. I did talk to him last week. They're getting drawings about finished up and waiting on parts to come in.
Oh, and then, Beerman Heating and Cooling, seems to be taking a while.
They failed to consider the size of our gas regulator, upsizing the boiler, and now they're looking for a larger gas regulator to finish that up.
All right, nothing more for Jared? Thank you. Anybody handling Megan's? But you got everybody signed up for health benefits, few changes.
Grabs the wheel.
Yeah. Has he been Employee of the Year previously? Okay, no problem, yeah.
He's always working. As long as I see somebody after hours, we'll usually do.
Yep, I had interaction with Will where I worked previously, and it was always good. Anything on Megan's area comments? Not? Jeff, you're up.
Morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Morning.
Do you have the, Marshall Junction wastewater treatment plant, request again? I think I visited with a couple of you, and shared some additional information. My recommendation is still, that we not do that. And, I think if you look at the financials in our, water department, the fact that we're gonna have increases, probably substantial increases, I really could recommend donating, anything at this time. I just don't think that looks good. The optics aren't good. So that's my recommendation, and certainly the board has, can do whatever they'd like.
Did anybody have any feedback from anybody in the public?
I did.
Okay.
I had 2 people approach me and say they didn't think that was a good idea.
Okay.
They were definitely against it.
I had one, same case, they were opposed to it. I had one person. I don't know if anybody else heard any comments or?
Bad optics, like Jeff said,
Okay. I don't know if we wanna act upon it now, or if that's work session, it makes no difference to me. How we wanna handle this, I guess, what, do you need a consensus from us, Jeff?
Yeah, if I could get a consensus from the board, I think that would work.
Last meeting, we said we're gonna do a work session and talk about it.
Yeah, we did. And we could do that, couldn't we? Yeah. How about that, Jeff, if we schedule this, because we don't have to act upon it right away, do we?
I don't believe so, and yeah, we could do that, if that's, what the board would like.
I
I
think,
can throw out some dates and times if that's what you'd like to do.
I think so, because Steve's correct. On our last meeting, we did, that was brought up, that we could have a work session and discuss it.
Okay, let me, get some dates and times, and I'll reach out to you guys.
Okay,
what is there to discuss, I guess?
Is there other funds out there that we could possibly get to help them use when we pay into this?
Right.
To the, Saline County Development Board, can they supply that funds to help cover that?
We do have.
And I want it to
funds.
happen, but I agree, I don't think it needs to come from us. There are other options out there to talk about. Plus, it'd be a good time to talk about the water rates, right, at the same time.
Yeah, we do wanna talk about the water rates too. Yeah. And I guess that brings up a good point. I mean, we do have, there is some money in that economic development fund. It's been there for, what's it, up to 175 now?
Yeah, 170, 175.
Yeah.
The cost of the water, $6 grand.
But I am certainly, I will go with the consensus of the board, and, but, I agree that it makes sense to have a work session to discuss it. And yeah, Jeff, if you would provide that, and then we can schedule it, whatever works for everyone.
Well, and it might make sense to kind of double up and have water rates as part of that, because I think there'll be a lot more, I think that would make the work session a little more worthwhile. If we're gonna take the time to do that, I think we can, roll in, water rates and get some feedback on that as well.
Oh, I agree, yeah, it needs to be both.
I kind of agree with what Wick said earlier. Not kind of agree, I really agree, that spreading it out over 3 years, I don't think is the right move. We don't know what else is coming down the pipeline. I'd rather figure out a way to make it whole quicker than to keep kicking it down the road.
All more
Yeah, and hopefully we'll have
reasonable
some more
work session.
information for you, Steve, when we get together, and then, we'll certainly, take the board's guidance on that, once we provide you guys information, and I would probably agree with that as well.
Okay.
All right, just a couple other things that are kind of in the works right now, really kind of on the front end. We've had a company reach out to us about a potential data center. With the holidays and stuff, I haven't, been able to get ahold of Joe and Independence and, have any talks with him, but, really wanna visit with him and kind of see how Independence made theirs work. And, I don't think 10 megawatts is something we could do, but, when speaking with the company, they could go as low as 2.5 megawatts, so that may be something that we might, take a hard look at, see if it would be a benefit, to the community. There wouldn't be a lot of jobs with this, probably very few. As long as we don't pass along any costs to the customers, as long as that facility would pay for itself, the big benefit would be a pilot generated for the city. So there's an opportunity there to maybe, provide some more income for them. So I'll continue to, work out some details there, but I just kind of want to get that on your radar and know that was being worked on. Some other things came up on our transmission line. I've been working with, Much on a lot of these different agreements that we're gonna have as far that relate to the Marshall Energy Center. When I was talking to them about collecting, a fee on our transmission line to get from the generation site to SPP, to the market. There was some stuff that came up on the generation interconnect. They're actually working on this now. I hope we get to continue to classify that as distribution. I think either way, we will see a revenue increase, but, if it goes and gets included in the bulk system, there will be some expenses that come with that, and probably some headaches. So, been pretty adamant with their staff that, we would like to continue operating like we are, and, they've got somebody working on that now, doing a study, and hopefully have that back sometime, and I'll keep you guys in the loop as to what that will look like, but, just wanted to make you aware. Still working on a lot of agreements with the MEC.
Yeah, Jeff, hey, I do have a question on this transmission line. There's a comment in here that says, while this would allow us to collect a tariff to pay for the maintenance and operation of the line, who would pay that tariff? where would that tariff
It
come
would,
from?
SPP would pay the tariff,
Okay, all right,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, and sorry if I went along too fast. Does anybody else have any questions on, those two items?
You have any idea what kind of revenue that would be?
No, I don't, Wick, not at this time. It's gonna have to cover all our costs and probably then some, so this is kind of new territory for me. We've been forced to have our transmission line, basically owned by us and part of our distribution, and haven't really had to deal with a lot of that regulatory stuff. And I think it even caught Mudmuck staff, I don't think they knew about this until they got involved in the generation interconnect. The phase two, the size of those units, there's a looping criteria, and that loop, what that would do, if that looping criteria is triggered, would require us to have our emergency tie closed, and so we would have basically bulk power flow through our system. I was kind of joking with the guy. I said, well, if I can go out there and remove a set of jumpers and that'll get us out of it, I'll be more than happy to do it. So, when you start getting involved with NERC and NERC reporting, and we would have to have a third party really manage a lot of that stuff. It's not something you just dip your toe in. It's a government regulatory agency, and it's not an easy lift. So, but I'll keep you guys up to speed on what that looks like.
All right, thank you.
Moving on, just continue to work on some of these contracts for the Marshall Energy Center. Pretty much reviewed everything. I've got it back to the attorney. I'm waiting on them. I think we're getting close to having some of these done, and there'll be a few more. I know Penny, she's the attorney that's working with me on these. She was going to reach out to Elizabeth as well. The city may be able to collect a franchise fee, which I think would be a good benefit to the city. And really, I think the electric load on this, when this is installed, the pilot that's paid is going to be I know the city has trouble with their budget, but I think some of these projects we're looking at, we've got in process are going to kind of help them financially. So there's going to be some good benefits there. Just kind of a quick overview, MPO board meeting, you can see that, there's a lot going on down there. A lot of it's driven by capacity, a lot of natural gas generation projects, some expansions at existing locations, and then some new locations like ours. Sykeston is retiring. They've got a 150 megawatt coal plant that they're looking to retire, and they've got there's some opportunity there potentially to partner with them and install some stuff. The staff center is super busy, a lot going on. Just thought I'd kind of share that with you. There is a project, potential project at Mid-Missouri Energy in Multiband. I think that may time out pretty good. They've got some capital expenditures on their boiler and things, some original plant equipment that they're needing to replace, and it may make sense to go ahead and replace that with a combined heat and power project with Mudbuck. So they're continuing to work on that. That would be for the swim pet pool. That capacity would be. I know we also visited with Mid-Missouri Energy about prepaid gas and trying to get them a discount on gas as well. They can't do that directly, but they could use us as a pass-through. So that might help, a local area business stay afloat and at no cost to us. I think we'd have a small administrative fee for doing that, but there's some things there that are positive as well. Yeah, any other questions you gentlemen may have, I'd be happy to try to answer.
Anything more for Jeff? Thank you, Jeff. There's our stat sheet and our power bill.
And what we'll see, I think, on the power bill, our capacity credits are going up, but the pool's paying that. So we will see 7% of whatever those credits are being paid. We will be receiving the credits, there'll be an increase, a net increase, monthly on that. Communities that don't have, generation will see, you know, a full increase with no revenue increase.
Credit.
Yep.
And then, next, it's the broadband and IT annual department report.
Not a whole lot of content changes, just a few numbers updates from last year.
It's the yellow wire. When are we gonna increase the rates on internet? Is that effective?
I don't think we have things.
We don't have it on debit, okay.
I was thinking probably not till we get the overall project cost of what the gross cost or whatever, and then we'll kind of look at it.
So far for the areas we've submitted for the grant two, we've been probably 25% or more under budget, which would be $2 million under budget. So far that's been going pretty well.
See any challenges as you transition to the customer connects, you know, to move everything from one location to the other?
Well, the timing will probably be, if we're looking at
October.
summer, August, later, if not next year, that'll be like the last 4 months of the grant. So we'll probably be trying to catch up or complete as much grant stuff as we can. So timing wise, that'd probably be inconvenient, but
Okay.
I'm sure we can figure it out.
Keeping up with the reimbursement is the biggest challenge. Getting them to pay us fast enough.
I'm kinda thinking too about, you know, moving servers and switches and that.
Yeah, that kind of stuff we can probably do a little bit at a time, over the weekends or whatever. The internet servers won't be a problem. The routers, we've got enough redundancy in those. We can handle that without too much trouble. It'd be some of the internal servers that would be more time. Some of them will be old enough, it would just be time to put a new one in there anyway.
You know, just happy to see we had 250 customers on grant one.
Yeah, we've-
239 was our target.
Yep, we're above our target on grant one, and
That's great.
so far we're looking good on grant two. Our target for grant one was 60%, our target for grant two is only 40%, so we shouldn't have too much trouble getting to the 40%.
Well, thank you for putting this together, yeah.
I think we were 4 short of 4,500 customers, and then we turned some people off for snowbirds, so we're getting close to 4,500.
Great.
It's amazing to see what the cost per megabit did
Yeah.
over that
Yeah.
20-year period.
Well, and even.
Nothing's gone down.
Yeah.
Well,
Except that.
like the splice equipment, looking at what
Yeah.
how much that's dropped.
Yeah.
And yeah,
And then we're testers.
$10,000 and
Yeah.
now it's
Yeah.
800?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's one thing that, that's unusual.
I think more than one person figured out how to make it.
Yeah, uh-huh. Yeah. And demand went up. Thank you, Jim. Guess next is cash disbursements. motion and a second to approve cash disbursements. All those in favor? Opposed? Any other business? Just one comment, at 10 a.m. today, there's a meeting at the Business Center Conference Room with SOA concerning the Customer Connect building. Our next board meeting is January the 15th. Yeah. That look good for everyone? And that is on a Thursday. Yeah. At 8:30. All right.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Have a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor?